Hi everyone. I just wanted to give you an update of how I'm doing and just my perspective of what's going on right now. So obviously we all know what's going on in the world. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. So at the end of February, I think, I got I got a message from someone whose house I'd been to very recently. Their husband seemed to have like symptoms with coughing, high fever, shortness of breath, and they were self-quarantining. And I don't know if they were able to get tested or not. I haven't been able to contact them. A day or two later, I started coughing a lot. Like I couldn't get through a sentence without coughing. By the way, I'm gonna edit out my coughing in this video because it's annoying. I started coughing a lot. I checked my temperature and I think it was like around 37.5 or something. So I noticed it was going up, but I thought it's probably just a cold. I'm probably fine. But I think by the end of the day, my fever had gone up to like 38.4. So I figured it was probably best to stay home. So I stayed home. I kind of self-quarantined. I stayed away from my fiance. Used hand sanitizer. We didn't really come into contact with each other. And I stayed home. I had a fever for about, I think it was 8 days or something. I was taking medicine from the drugstore, but it wasn't really doing anything. And I would cough a lot in bed and I couldn't sleep. So taking the medicine made me a little bit sleepy and I was able to sleep. Fast forward a few days, I started feeling a little bit better. I stopped checking my temperature because I felt a lot better and I didn't cough as much. So I thought I could go about my daily business, so I did. By the way, I didn't go to the hospital those first like 8 or 9 days because we were kind of told by the media and everything that if you're not like in a very severe condition, you don't need to go to the hospital, just stay home because they're going to be overwhelmed with patients and everything. So if it's just a cold or something, stay home. So I didn't know what it was. I thought it might be the flu, it might be a cold, it might be the worst case scenario, I don't know. So I stayed home. And after a few days, I started feeling better. I didn't cough as much. I didn't check my temperature really, but my fever I thought went down. I went about business as usual. And after a few days, so this is gonna be last Sunday. By the way, today is Friday, March 20th, 2020. Last Sunday, all of a sudden, I just felt really not like myself and I started coughing again and I checked my temperature and it was like 38.5 or something. So I was like, okay, I have a fever, I'm gonna go to bed. And it continued for 3 days. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, yeah. So on Tuesday, my fiance suggested that I just call the hotline that they have for the worst case scenario, just to see if it's okay if I go to a regular hospital, because it wasn't going away with regular medicine. So I thought if I could go to the hospital, I could get like proper medicine to at least recover quicker. And so I called the hotline and I explained my situation. They have an English speaking service. I can speak Japanese, but I thought like when I'm sick, it's probably easier if I speak to someone in English so I can properly explain my symptoms and everything. And so I called, and they had a translator on the line. And so, I mean, I could understand what the Japanese person was saying, but it was nice to be able to talk to them in English. And after explaining everything, they said that they couldn't make a judgment whether I should get tested or go to a regular hospital. So they gave me a phone number for another place, and they said call them and explain your situation again. And they'll be able to tell you whether you should go to the hospital or you should get tested somewhere. I was like, okay. I called that place and I explained the situation, and they said, why are you calling us? And I was like, what do you mean? I just got off the phone with the hotline and they gave me this number. They told me to call you. And they said, okay, we don't know why you're calling us. Hold on. They called another health bureau in my area, and then like I was on hold like a lot, and then I don't know what happened, but it was like I was getting like transferred, and eventually I was talking to somebody and they were like, okay, so you need an English speaking clinic in your area? And I said, no, I just want to know if I can go to the doctor with these symptoms, or you know, what I should do. And the lady was just like, okay, well, so you want to look for a clinic? I kept explaining and kept asking, like, is it okay if I go to a clinic with these symptoms? What should I do? Or is there a special place I should go? Or what should I tell them? Even though I told them I don't need an English speaking doctor, a Japanese doctor is fine. I speak Japanese. It was some weird miscommunication with me getting transferred a lot, and I think I ended up at some place where they were like, they search for hospitals for people. I don't know. And it was so useless, and she told me to call back in 15 minutes, and I called back, and they just gave me a recommendation for a doctor who didn't speak any English and was kind of far from my area. And I was like, no, it's okay, I have a hospital near my home that I can go to. But whatever. So I hung up and I explained the situation to my fiance, and he was kind of annoyed because what's the purpose of the hotline if we don't get any answers? So the next day, on Wednesday, my fiance called again, and it was even more like, they basically said, we can't tell you either way what to do, and you could call this health bureau in your area, which is where I think I was transferred to at one point the day before. And when my fiance asked what's the number for the health bureau, they said they couldn't tell him because they might give him the wrong number. I don't even know what that means. Like, obviously they don't want to take any responsibility, and basically unless that you can say that you've 100% been in contact with someone who has the virus, basically they're not going to tell you to do anything. They don't want the responsibility. They don't want to tell you to go to a hospital, because if you do have it, they don't want to be the ones responsible for telling you to go there. And they're not testing a lot of people in Japan. So we ended up calling the hospital near my house. We explained everything again. They were very nice, and they scheduled a specific time for us to go. I couldn't go into the hospital itself. They had a separate area, like a back entrance that I had to go into. And when I went in there, the nurses and doctors had like the special face masks. They're in these plastic things, and it was like a little scary. But I once again explained my symptoms. The nurse was very nice, and she took my temperature. I still had a fever. My fever had been continuing for 4 days consecutively now, after that small gap where I felt fine. She made a remark that, wow, you're coughing a lot. And then she had to put like a clip on my fingers, and she said, wow, your hands are so cold. And then she made a remark about my fingernails, and she said, oh, the color of your nails isn't good. But I think that's because I usually have gel nails, but because I've been sick, I decided not to go to the nail salon, so I took them off by myself, so that's probably why she mentioned that. And then she also said, your face is really red. And I was like, no shit, I'm sick. So I talked to the doctor, I explained my symptoms again, and he said, basically, they're not testing people now. They're not testing. But what he could do was give me a CT scan to see if I have pneumonia. I didn't think I had pneumonia because I'm pretty sure I've had pneumonia before, and it was a lot worse than my symptoms now. And he asked me, what are you most concerned about? Do you think you have this virus? And I said, well, I'm not sure. I don't know if I have just the cold or the flu or that, but I haven't been able to get better. I don't know if I should stay at home, and I just want to stop having a fever, basically. I had a CT scan. They didn't find any pneumonia, so that was great, which I knew. And then I expected them to do some other tests, like a flu test, after getting the results of the CT scan, which he said was pointless. He said basically, because I've been sick for so long, even if I had the flu or cold, he wouldn't recommend testing for it because I probably am already getting better. But I don't know if that's true. And when I asked him about medicine, he said that just keep taking the medicine I have at home. And I got no answers. I still have a fever today. I've been taking the medicine at home that I have, but it's like, because I don't have any answers, I don't know what I have, so I don't know if I should be staying at home again. When I first got sick, I stayed home, but then I went out after I felt better, and now I'm sick again, and I don't know if I should keep staying home. I feel like I just paid for a CT scan and got no real answers, so I was kind of disappointed in that. And even if I just have the regular cold or flu, it sucks not being able to go to the hospital and being told to just stay home. Like, it sucks to have a fever all the time, every day. Yeah, so that's where I am right now. It could be the cold, it could be the flu, I don't know, but it's frustrating because I still feel like crap. I'm still coughing, so it kind of sucks. And I feel like in Japan, people aren't taking it as seriously now as in other countries. And I don't know if it's because we really don't have that many cases now, or it's just because we're not testing. I think they're only testing the people who already have it quite badly. I'm worried about my family in America. My hometown just, I think yesterday, announced a state of emergency. My mom works in the ER, and she's gonna come in contact with a lot of patients, and she's usually taking care of my 93-year-old grandma, and she had to stop seeing my grandma and my uncle who has health conditions, just to make sure they're safe. My dad, he also has a lot of health issues, so nobody can see him either. I want to go home, but even if I go home, I can't see my family, basically. And yeah, that's just how I'm feeling now. I know a lot of people in Japan don't care as much right now, but I feel like crap and I'm worried about my family. So yeah, that's how it is for me right now. How are you guys? How are you handling the situation? I hope you're all safe. I hope you're taking this seriously. Even though you might be okay, the people around you might not be okay. And, you know, think of the doctors and the nurses and everyone who, no matter what, they have to go to work. I'm supposed to get married in September in Hawaii. I don't know if that's happening. Yeah, it sucks. Sucks. Sucks a lot. Yeah, so that's my update. I don't know what else to say. I have no answers. Please share your experiences or just what you're going through, and let's try to support each other. Anyway, I've been talking too long. I feel tired. Okay, so I will see you hopefully with a better and more entertaining video in the future. Okay, bye. Get it together.